Hi everyone. I decided to do the tag on the hashtag Council of Seven. It's 7 tarot decks that, if you were considering them as you were running a kingdom, they would be on your council. And it was a way I first saw this video. Mary Grace Farron did it, and she was kind enough to put the link to the original video. I can't say the name of the person's channel because I would butcher it, but it's Natalia is the woman's name, and I did watch that, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I also subscribed to her channel as well. And Mary Grace has done a video where she gave shout outs, and I need to thank her for putting me on her shout out. Very humbled. My videos are not very sophisticated. This is only my first, this is my second time being actually on camera. Most of the time I'm just showing the decks because I feel like that's more important than me. But anyhow, here I am. I decided for this one I would. And this, I've tried to do this. This is my 4th time. I'm not lying. My iPad kept cutting out. I guess it was a memory storage problem. I'm not the most sophisticated with the iPad because I use it very limitedly. So yeah, not my strong point. So hopefully I'll get to the end of this because I'm at the point where I'm so tired of hearing myself talk about everything that I'm talking about here that now I hope it just doesn't come out in the video that I'm just not thrilled. But I am really thrilled. I really wanted to do this, but it's been on and off all day today. So something is, maybe the other ones weren't good enough, I'm going to say. Hopefully I will get this done because I really do want to put it up. But it is a challenge now. 4th time is kind of a lot. It's cut off at different points in it. So one, I was almost done. A sign from the universe to shut up. I'm talking too much. Which I do. I ramble, and I know I do. And I apologize. Probably the reason why people don't get through most of my videos is because I'm all over the place. So I'm going to try to calm that and rein that in. My first deck, if anyone watched Game of Thrones, the character, one of the characters in the film, and there was a couple that played this role, and advisor to the king is the hand. I think it's like a play on the words of right-hand man. For me, this deck, the hand represents someone from your tribe, someone that knows your core, that you both share a history. To me, this is my tribe mate. I may be head of the kingdom now, but this person has been with me, knows where I'm from. We share everything, our backgrounds, our traditions, our beliefs. So to me, that deck would be the Wildwood Tarot. This deck represents, to me, my core belief as far as my traditions, my Celtic traditions wrapped up in my ancestry, and I've always had a deep connection to Celtic mythology and all things Celtic, and just a love of my family history and that feeling, that connection. And this deck to me really does capture that. And when I want to feel very connected, or I'm trying to make a decision in my life that I need to make sure that it is in alignment with my core belief or who I am, and or a situation in which I want to be representing myself truthfully and authentically to who I am and not compromising myself, this is the deck that I turn to for that, if that makes any sense. And the images are just gorgeous. Will Worthington, he's done the Druid craft as well. Mary Grace, she chose that one. For me, it's the Wildwood. I do have the Druid craft, but this is the one that I feel is more in line with my core of who I am and my comfort. And to me, yeah, like my tribe, my connection, that's a good representation of the feeling I get from this deck. It's going to be there to give me the answers that I need in such a way that I know I'm not going to be compromising who I am. And when I need to hear that, or remember is probably more of a better word, remember who I am in a decision, in a decision, or an event or a compromise, to keep myself from being compromised and my core beliefs being compromised. Apologize for my nails, they're a mess, but I did mention, I think, one video, that's what kept me from doing videos. So not anymore. People are gonna have to put up with my crappy nails. But yeah, this is the deck. Beautiful, beautiful artwork. I have almost all of his artwork, I believe, in regards to decks, except the Lenormand, and it is on my list to get the Lenormand. So yeah, the next deck, and these are not going to be in any particular order now. They haven't been for the last 4 attempts. Why start now? Tarot Apokalypsis. I can't even say it now. Tarot Apokalypsis. I didn't get the Tarot Illuminati when it first came out, and it was the rage. But I did, after getting this, decide to get it, and I love that deck too. So that'll be the next one. But this one is more of my connection to, I would say, if it's going to be a person on a council, this deck to me is my sacred ambassador. And that's because this deck, as the Illuminati, represents different cultures. And to me, but for me, this is the spiritual representation of different cultures. And that definitely is what I get from this deck. When I want to feel a connection to all that is. And to me, that's why I consider myself a bit of a hodgepodge, and why I renamed my channel Hodgepodge Witch, because I never believed, when I was being raised in my religion as a child, that that was the right religion, the true religion, and everyone had to believe in that religion, or, you know, they were going to hell, or bad consequences, or whatever. I believe we're all connected to source energy, that it is a creator, that but that creator is formless, and the form is what we give it. And every culture, and throughout history and throughout the world, has different ways of finding its connection and bringing that creator, that creative energy, that spark, which we're all a part of. They all have a way of representing that. And that's what this deck is to me. It celebrates that there are so many levels to spirituality and so many different cultures. And so, yeah, I just absolutely love this death card. I love the swords and the white roses with the blood. It's photo manipulation, this deck, digital, and I'm not usually a fan, but I think the colors and the vibrancy and just the images, the way they're arranged, it all works for me. In this deck, there's different civilizations. There's Greek mythology, Cambodia, Egypt. They're all represented. Greek mythology here, and Egyptian. And so there's a feeling of different layers of spirituality and different ways of expressing it. See the lotus there, within different cultures. And so when I want to feel that connection, and as far as a whole, and feeling the larger picture and what I believe my spirituality is, yeah, I reach for this deck, because to me it has gone through, you know, the ages, the eons. There's always been man striving to connect and develop a relationship with his creator and the power behind it. And that's what I get from this deck. It's sacred to me. So this person on the council would be a sacred representation of, and I have, I love the Hanged Man as well, because I have Native American in my history, my family history as well, and that is a sacred ritual that is done by some of the Native American cultures, and it's like a rite of passage. And I just love this deck. Like I said, it doesn't, the photo art doesn't bother me. I actually like it. And so yeah, this is my deck for my spiritual connection to all that is, in every way and shape, form, that creation and our connection and our way of seeking that connection is expressed. And so when I want to feel part of the whole, and not feel like I'm alone, and that I want to touch base with that my spirituality on a more deep and intimate level, this is the deck that I'm going to be pulling to get that feeling from. So yes, Tarot Apokalypsis. And then the next one is the Illuminati. And I think the reason why I didn't really get this deck at the first time, when it first came out, it was so popular and a lot of talk was about it, but it was probably the name, really, because I think it just made me think of that, you know, the secret society of the Illuminati, and not specifically feeling a connection to that. But then once I got the deck and I got my own look at it and got past the name I think was actually a stumbling block for me. And the cards are a mess because I've done this, like, another thing is, forgive my eyeballs because I'm all over the place. I seldom do a video where I'm actually looking at the camera, so, and I find myself getting distracted and not looking at the camera. So yeah, the imagery in this, again, the photo manipulation, but gorgeous cards. This, to me, is a huge fan. I'm a huge fan of English literature, English history. I read a series of books that had Elizabeth, Queen Elizabeth, in before she became queen, as solving mysteries. And I can't remember the name of the series of books, but if I remember, I'll put it in the down bar. So this deck has images from Queen Elizabeth's time, from different cultures, which I really do enjoy that. There is some Persian, there's some Norse, there's the young Queen Elizabeth that makes me think of those mystery books that I read that I absolutely loved. But yeah, this is all represented in this deck. Again, with the different cultures. But to me, this is the deck that I go to. I would say, like, it's my advisor. This is my close advisor, just like Queen Elizabeth had William Cecil as her close advisor. And to me, this is the deck that I use. Like, if you think of a government advisor, not so much like the Hand, where that person was like part of your tribe and is there to remind you of that and keep you grounded, and when you need to touch base to where you came from, that person standing there also sharing a history with you. This is more like, this is the ins and out of how to work a government, a ruling. So this deck comes to me, I use this deck when I need to maneuver through life and just everyday life. And if I need to, this is going to be the advisor who knows when I'm this deck knows when I'm cranky, when I'm not in the mood to hear something, and it will guide me around. Well, you really need to know this, but I'm going to tell the Queen in such a way that she's not going to chop my head off. and very savvy in how things work. So I think this deck really does feel like a government advisor, more like my right hand counsel, but from a managerial kind of way. I need to know these life lessons. I need to face whatever it is. There's a great image of her there. This is King Henry. And younger queen on the throne. So yeah, this deck to me feels, I get that energy from her. It's not, like I said, there's different cultures represented, so it's not all about the English side. Not one of my favorite images here, because to me, this is what I don't like about photo manipulation. To me, this is a perfect example where it just doesn't fit. The goat seems to be like hanging there, not really sitting in these, this one's not one of my favorites. But then there's other ones that are just absolutely gorgeous. And you do get the fiery element from that wands, and the Hermit card is absolutely amazing. The staff, the lantern, the three falling stars behind, the moon being on the mountain. It's cold. It's a cold, lonely spiritual journey at times. And to me, the Hermit is all about spirituality. It's finding that connection to your spirit and your connection to your Creator, and needing to retreat within yourself to find that. And it is a cold and lonely journey sometimes. But yeah, cards absolutely beautiful. And yeah, I just love them. And so yeah, this is the deck that I pull and work with when I do feel like I need that guidance, but it's going to come in such a way that I'm going to get the message that I need to get, but it's going to be in a supportive way, if that makes any sense. So yeah, this is my William Cecil. I think Persia is just beautiful. And the colors, and I just feel so like I'm getting the message, but I feel like I'm so cared for. Like, it's not just an advisor about the government, although they're wise. The cards are wise. It's doing it in such a way that I can feel that I'm being cared for while I'm getting the direction and the guidance that I need, that they're supporting me. They want me to be successful. They don't want me to fall into any traps. That's the feeling I get with this deck. And when I need that kind of support in my life, this is the deck I grab. Okay, so next deck is going to be my witch. And because my path is I am a witch, and my life is built around my craft, and it encompasses every aspect of my life. And it's not always in a ceremonial, grand, ritual sort of way, but it's an everyday kind of a practice where there's little things, little intentions, little spells that I'm doing all the time. And now that I'm older and have been practicing for so long, I don't always have to drag out all the accoutrements. Not that I don't like them, I do. But my practice of magic has become much more simple. But if I want a deck to assist me in any sort of spell work, or make me connect, or when I feel like I'm losing my connection to my spell work, my practice, and it needs a little oomph without dragging out all the ritual things, I can grab this deck and get that same kind of feeling. So this would be the Witch on my console. There's the Death card. And this is the Spellcaster's tarot. This deck is absolutely gorgeous. It is a connection absolutely to magic to me. This represents magic and the mindset of where I need to be when I'm going to be doing my spell work, when I'm creating in my life. Love that card. The genie. What do you want? 9 of Cups. It's all yours. Yeah. So this is my deck for my my spell work, and what better? It really does live up to its name, the Spellcaster. It's just great. When I need that connection, I need that boost. When I need a quick spell, I can use this deck to focus my intentions. A lot of people had some issues, I guess, if you're not connected to any sort of witchcraft or spell work. The fact that the swords were changed to fire and the wands were changed to air was like a stumbling block for people that were like, you know, just tarot users. I love the diversity in this deck as well. It's very, it's just so refreshing to see it. And yeah, so that doesn't bother me, because in witchcraft, you know, we use an athame, we use the wand is air. Athame, the athame, which is like a sword, is the fire, the creative spark. I love this image of the Hierophant. I love how she has the crescent moon behind her back. Yes, you're bowing to authority, and I felt like I lived the first half of my life like this. Yeah, I'll go along with this, but that's not, I don't believe any of this. There's so much more, and I'm going to get out of here someday, and the goddess is going to help me. So I just love it. Love, 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 love this deck. I could go on about it all day long. It's just so beautiful. Yeah, so this is the witch that's on my council. This is the deck where I connect to my spell work, to my creation, to how I'm creating my life. I love the symbols in them. A lot of the magical symbols are in there, and it's just great. I can't say enough about it. The pomegranate for justice. It's just great. And the skeletal hand there. What's revealed. It's just beautiful. And always have to look at the Hermit card, because that's one of my favorite cards. So yeah, that's the deck for the witch that would be on my console. That represents me and my spells. The next deck is like the friend that you've brought along, the one that you grew up with, the one that you shared probably since when you were in high school, that friend that you've shared drama, tears. They've been there for the good, the high, the low. And to me, that's the Robin Wood Tarot. I never really had a huge connection to the Rider-Waite deck. And to this, the Robin Wood always felt a lot more pagan, and that's where my belief systems were going. It also has this feel of, the artwork is very 70s to me, and that's comforting to me as well. I feel like it's a part of my childhood, just the way the illustrations are. But I could relate to this deck a lot more than the Rider-Waite imagery, and so I just connected to it so quickly. And it's like, this is a deck when I feel like I'm kind of lost or feeling down. I can go to this deck and I feel like this is a deck that's going to be there and comfort me, because it knows me. We were there at the beginning. This is how I learned to read tarot, was with this deck. So it's always going to be on my console. It's always going to be there for me. So yeah, the Robin Wood. And like I said, a lot of the colorings in some of these, it does look so 70s. And I just, for that alone. And I love the representation of the devil, because to me it took it away from the that the devil that you think about an organized religion that shows the horns, and this was really what the devil is to me. It's you're trapped by your addictions and your desires, and there is a way out, and if you would just let go, and move out of this dark place and away from these things that you think you need that are really keeping you trapped, you have all the ability to get out from underneath those chains. You don't need that. What's holding you there, and you can get out the door. So to me, the deck was very easy to learn and to read with. And so when I feel like maybe I'm getting too much from everywhere and I can't really think, this is the deck that I can pull, and I'm always going to get my answer and my comfort from this deck. So that's the Robin Wood. The next deck is the Thoth Tarot, and that is because I am huge in, this would be the philosophical advisor on my council. It would be higher magic. I love the study of ancient esoteric systems, and of course the Thoth deck is a huge representation of that in itself. Aleister Crowley, and so yes, the Thoth deck really just brings me right to that higher thought process in magic and the real mystery of how everything works. And like I said, the esoteric theologies, Philosopher's Stone, Kabbalah. And I collect magic books and magical studies, and it's a hobby of mine to research and study higher magic. So I'm not like part of a coven or some sort of secret society and Illuminati to practice that, but I love to study about it. Fascinated by it, in fact. So yes, the Thoth deck is a deck I use when I'm feeling like I need that higher attunement to the philosophical side of magic and the undercurrents of how it is all connected, and the power of it. I think these cards represent the power of magic and the higher. To me, like I said, it's like a theology in a deck of cards. I connect. So the Thoth deck, couldn't live without it. Has to be on my console. The next one and the last one is well, it's not really the last one because I do have an honorable mention. Kind of like the fairy godmother of the decks. But this one is a fairly new. I got this at the end of August, and it is the Hidden Realms. This deck has been on my wish list for a long time, and I debated about how I would get on with it, actually, and I don't know why I took so long, because I absolutely adore this deck. I just stopped working with it. I've been working with it since the end of August, and now I'm into my shadow month of November, so I pulled out some of my darker decks. But this is definitely on my console now. I couldn't live without it. It'll always be part of my work. And as far as in relations to my console, this is the deck that connects me to my people, my soul people. And to me, that is the core of nature, the planet, everything that is our home here in this physical life. And that includes Mother Earth. And to me, this deck with the Fae in it, it represents that connection to the elements and nature. Such a great card. And I love this for the Five of Wands. All the different levels of branches that they're on and their expressions and what they're doing. And I love that. So yes, this deck connects me to the elementals and the fae and nature and my reverence for nature and my connection to it, and with that spiritual aspect that is nature. Absolutely believe there is on a plane that we can't see these elemental beings. And this deck is just gorgeous and really, really draws me in to that feeling of nature and being connected to nature, where I think now, I just love that King of Pentacles. It's so beautiful. Nowadays, because, you know, we don't really have an everyday connection to nature in relation to being it part of our everyday life, and as far as surviving. Years ago when we were hunters and gatherers and everyone had to grow or kill their food, and you needed it to rain for your crops, and you needed the good weather. You needed to be able to make a shelter from the elements, and you needed a connection to nature and the nature spirits to assist you in your to survive. And there's such a huge part of Celtic mythology and even Celtic culture where the belief in the fae is, you know, was prominent, and it still is prominent in some, even today. And the belief that these are real beings and they are connected, and they should be, there should be a reverence for nature and all things connected to the natural order of the world. And we have lost that connection. Beautiful Lover's card. So yes, this is the Tarot of the Hidden Realms, and I don't know why it took me so long, but this deck is definitely my environmental connection, the connection to nature in my practice, and it is a deck that I'm going to enjoy working with and having on my console, and I can't ever picture being without it now that I have it. The last deck that I'm going to have, and this is just the deck that I consider like the elder in your court that has lived for such a long time and seen many, many different kings and queens and reigns and times and changes. And so you get that feeling of a connection to the past and how it has progressed to the future, but sometimes the lessons that we need to remember, you need to really cherish your older adults because they have lived life and they have learned lessons, and you can find, you know, history will repeat itself if you don't acknowledge it and learn from it. Sometimes we don't know everything. Sometimes we think we do. And so this deck to me makes me feel like if I need to have that connection where like, okay, this isn't the first time, I need to be aware of the history, and I need to be mindful of past mistakes. This is the deck that's going to come out and say, okay, well, here's where you are in this. And to me, I think because it is a Rider-Waite, to me that's where the foundation is for the majority of the tarot, other than the Thoth deck that I use. They do tend to all be Rider-Waite based. I really couldn't connect with the Rider-Waite mainly because of the imagery, just was not. And but also the coloring, and I kind of learned that later, that it was more the coloration of that bright, overpowering. And so I found this is the Golden Rider, and I don't believe you can get this anymore, but I wanted a Rider-Waite deck, and for me this does it because of the color. It's just the muted tones. I can relate to them. It makes me be able to sit with the cards, and I do get the connection of history and the past with it, because it is, you know, based on the original, yet it's snazzed up. This just screams the 70s to me, which reminds me of my childhood. So yeah, so this would be the deck that I pull out when I want that connection to history and lessons learned, and a connection to past. And this is the elder that hanging around the castle that has seen everything, and sometimes you just want to tap into that resource. And this deck with the coloring, I can find that with it. So that's it. I finally got through it. I think it only took 5 times. Thank goodness the iPad did not crash again. Thank you so much for watching, and I was planning on doing some more videos, but I don't know if it's going to be today because it's been an all-day thing just to do this one video. So thank you again, and like and subscribe, and thank you so much, Mary Grace, for doing this video and bringing it to my attention. I appreciate it, and blessings to everyone. Bye.